Hi, welcome to the 24-hour CCNA. This is a lab explaining how to associate Putty with your learning lab. Cisco learning labs are really cool. If you do a search in Google for Cisco Learning Network Store, you could purchase the Cisco Learning Labs. They're pretty awesome. It's a virtual iOS. It's a good way to go if you want to practice. There are so many other ways to do this, and a lot of them free, but this is one of the best. So the first thing you want to do in regards to Putty is to download Putty. So just do a Google search for Putty, and the first selection you get in Google will be this page right here, Putty download page. Now don't make the mistake of just clicking on the first one that you see. The first one that you see is not an installer. It's just an executable. It works great in the real world if you want to download it on your laptop and take care of things with Cisco, but it does not work great in terms of just trying to use these labs. So what we want to do is go down a little bit further and see where it says a Windows installer for everything except for PuttyTel. Well, that's the one we want. We go to installer, this one here. You click on it, download it, install it, following all of the default prompts. And once you've downloaded it, installing it, following all of the default prompts, what will happen is you will then have a in your x86 program files, x86, you will have a folder called Putty, and you will have a Putty executable. That's what you need. Alright, so what we do is once you've installed and paid for your Cisco Learning Labs, you navigate to your lab system. Now what I'm going to do is going to take minutes. As you can see, I've already used 25.7 minutes on this lab. Still have 1474.3 left. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on Continue Lab, and this is going to cause me to use minutes. So I need to think carefully about Continue Lab, or Start Lab in your case. So rather than hitting the Start Lab or Continue Lab button, if you have not done this before, you have not associated with Putty before, this is your first time in Cisco Learning Labs, the first thing you want to do then is actually go through these 4 links. Getting started, how to use, making the most of, and the FAQ. So go through those 4 links. Look at the 3 videos and read the FAQ. Then let's go ahead and associate Putty with Telnet, so that we can use the lab before we waste any time, that precious time that we paid money for. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Firefox tab, go to Options, and in Options, in the Application sections, you can see it's in the middle of the button bar up at the top. What we're going to do is we're going to scroll down until we get to Telnet. And for Telnet, what we're going to do is we're going to tell it to use an application. We're going to browse over to Program Files x86 on the local drive, and then we're going to go to the Putty folder. And in the Putty folder, we're going to double-click on Putty and associate that with Telnet. Now, anytime a Telnet window, a Telnet feature is attempted to be used, it will use Telnet. We hit OK here. Now, we have looked at the getting connected, getting started, how to use, making the most of, and now we're not going to waste too much time in the lab. So now we click on Continue Lab, or in your case it might be Start Lab, and you know what, we're already ready to go here. What we're going to wait for is a green button to appear right down here, and the same thing, yes, there it is, Resume Lab, and up at the top we see Resume Lab. Sometimes in some labs you will not see the green button, but you will see the menu item up at top. And as you can see, look at this, time already running. So don't think you can hang out on this page without a penalty. You need to start this lab right away. Okay, so I clicked on Resume Lab, and now what will happen is if I click on a router and hit enter a few times, look at that. I can even type in enable if I can remember how to type. And I can do a show run, and I can see that this is indeed connected through Putty. So that is how to connect the Cisco Learning Lab, your Cisco Learning Lab, to Putty. And this is the 24-hour CCNA.com.